And at this point, I got to a certain age in my life. I took inventory of all my friends, especially when I decided to start taking my business very seriously. At first you're young, you feel you have time, age is on your side, so you play a lot. You do things, but you don't concentrate on what you're doing. Like you have $10,000 in your bank account, you take it for granted. You would easily buy something for $1,000. You would easily do something stupid. You go on vacation. You would easily push work aside for fun. So while I was on that phase, when I was about to exit that phase, I took inventory. I said to myself, I looked through my phone. I see, what value is this guy to me? And what value am I to them? Everybody that took more value from me than they provided, I deleted their number. And then some people still kept calling me. I realized, as a man, you can't run from it. And I always tell people this: a man that cannot look you in the eye is a man you can't trust. Yep. You know what I said to myself? I have to talk to these guys and let them know where I stand. I remember having this difficult conversation with some of our friends. I remember this one guy specifically. I told him, listen, you and I are not friends. From today, I want you to just know this, that we're not friends. I would like it if you don't call my phone anymore. If you see me, we exchange pleasantries and you go your way. I've known this guy since high school. I said, whatever it is that we're supposed to do together in this life, it has not materialized for me. And knowing me does you more good than it does me. I think it's time we just sever this relationship, because that's a parasitic relationship. Yep. A human being is supposed to be in a symbiotic relationship with another human being. So I told him, just because of this, we can't be friends. You're married now, enjoy your family, enjoy whatever friends you have that would take the deal that you're offering them, and enjoy your life. Because obviously, I'm not of that much value to you, so you won't miss out on anything. You know what I mean? I wished him the best, and that was that. And he was like, are you serious? I was like, that's a heart attack. You know what I mean? And that was it. So now he still has me as a friend on Instagram and all. He just watches my social media, and he still can't believe it that I was serious. But he knew I was serious when he went around and heard from other friends that I called them and
did this thing.
You know what I mean? Because I think the breaking point for me was when I started the rental car business. It's not that I was asking him to support me. He came into town one time. This guy, when he was buying real estate, I asked him, I was like, you know me, I'm all about business. Can you give me insight, show me what's going on, share some knowledge with me. He would always invite me to his house, but he would just put on a movie and just, he would never want to attend to what I'm asking about. And I was pretty straight, look at me. Yeah. I'm a fucking straightforward guy. I'm as serious as a heart, And after a while, I was like, this guy doesn't want to teach me anything. Why am I fooling myself? So I stopped going to his place. I stopped showing up for him. And I knew he wasn't going to show up for me. But I still entertained him as a friend. So one time he came into town to buy a property. He came to look at the property. And I was selling cars at this time, but I wasn't in the rental car business full well. I used to rent some of my, under the table, I used to rent some of my cars in my lot. And he asked me for a car to use. My friend is in town, I do the car business. Why would they go rent a car from Enterprise? So I offered him a car. He returned this car with no gas. He didn't wash it. He didn't do nothing. He just returned it worse than I gave it to him. And I was like, this is it, bro. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I was like, yeah, I can't do anything with this guy. But I didn't say nothing to him at that point. It was later, I think, during a holiday when he was messaging me. He said he was in town, and that was when I just broke this to him. By then, I already called other people, but he hadn't heard through the grapevine that I was calling all these people. You know what I'm saying? It was after I gave him the word, and then somebody else told him, yeah, he said the same thing to me. You know what I mean? And then,
Yeah. Keep your circle small.
Yeah. And then I use this as a teachable moment to a lot of my guys that I mentor. I tell them, if you plan to be rich, just plan that your circle is going to be very small as well, because everybody can go. You know what I mean? Most of the women I haven't married, come on, you know this, man. Once you pass a certain tax bracket, women they're dime a dozen. They show up in different ways and try to sell you a dream and make you believe that they're an asset. They're full-blown liability. Like, I'm talking about a tanker toy that's leaking oil that has, kerosene in the engine. You know what I mean? So at that point, I just, I've seen all these people, and then I just start breaking into people. So once I meet people, I found out that the more money I made, the more honest I became. So I was just straight up with people. Hey, this is my, this is what I expect you to offer me, and in exchange, this is what you get. Do you like it? Can you do it? Most of them can't, but you know what they do? They stick around, hoping that you will change, the rules of engagement. And for a guy like me, coming from where I come from, where shit is real and serious, even God cannot change how I feel when I have my mind set on something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I just left it like that. So right now I still have, I have a lot of women like, oh, I believe in monogamy, this and that. I can't believe you're polygamous. I can't believe you want multiple. What do you want to? They start shaming you. What do you want one woman for? What do you want? Then I respond. What do you want a man with money for? What do you need him for? Why does the man have to have money? You can have it. There's so many men out there that would gladly have you. Why do you want someone that works hard?
No, that's true. Very insightful.
But you see, most men would not rebuttal. Most men, we've been trained and programmed to just buckle, to cave in and just be like, oh, I guess you have a point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But deep down inside, he knows what he wants to say. But he's such a beta that he doesn't want to voice his opinion. That's one thing I don't know how to do.
I don't know.
When I'm with a dude, I might not tell him how but when I'm with a woman, I make sure that I know how they feel, especially in America here, because of the way the society is structured. Because if you don't communicate effectively, that's how P. Diddy ended up where he is. That's how Weinstein and all these people ended up where they are. Why is Weinstein in jail when all these women voluntarily came? Why are you having a meeting at 2 a.m. with a man in a hotel? What do you think was going to happen? You think you were going to have an aha moment or a light bulb moment? Are you guys going to discover a faster internet or something?
Nope, that's exactly right.
But these days it's labeled as misogyny. Everything is misogyny now. Most people don't even know the definition of misogyny. They just utter it like when psychology class. You know what I mean? I just think I believe in feminism. I love feminism. Here's why I love feminism. Feminism has freed a lot of men. Now you can get sex from a woman without marrying her. You're free. You could do whatever. You could do as you please. You know what I mean? And not only that, you could voice your opinion, especially when you're not in the context of marriage. Like you're still vetting the woman for marriage, and there will be no repercussions. You know what I mean? There will be no repercussion because why? People are telling you, women are conveying through public media that we're equal now. You see what I'm saying?
Nope, that's true.
So what are we talking about here? There's no conversation. Yeah, this is how you feel? I agree with you. When I tell them I agree with them, they're shocked. I remember I met a girl the other day, a young lady. I was eating at Sweet Green. My phone had broken the screen of my phone. I went to Toyota. One of my Prius had died on Marine Drive. I was trying to change the battery, and Turo had unlisted it, so I had to go to the dealer to buy a battery and show receipt. I bought the battery. Coming out, my phone cracked for some reason. I guess the code. So, what had happened? So I went to my iPhone guy to fix the screen. And I asked my iPhone guy, how much for a new iPhone? Do you have the latest iPhone? He said, oh, the new iPhone does not have a SIM card, so it takes a while for it to port. But I have an iPhone 14 that he brought it out. It wasn't a Pro Max. I like the one with the multiple cameras because I used to shoot my YouTube and content and stuff like that. And I take pictures for the cars and all that kind of stuff. And then I told him I don't want it. I said, how much to fix my phone? He said $700. And he said he's going to give me a deal. He's going to give me the new phone for $700 plus fix my phone for $780, so that way I could retire this one and now use this as my business phone and the new one as my private phone. And I was like, that sounds good. But at that moment, when you want to make, it was a lot of money to spend in one day, $780. You know what I mean? I didn't want to spend that money. You know what I mean? Especially not on the phone. And I just thought to myself, and I didn't want to put it on a credit card either. I wanted to pay it cash. I had the money in my pocket, but I didn't want to. For some reason, I just didn't want to part with that money. Not just like that for a phone. And then I told him, let me sit in the car and think about it. So I got in the car. I just drove off. I drove to the Apple store on North Avenue, pulled it. Before I went to the Apple store, I was like, let me think some more. If I even want to go to Apple and get a phone. I pulled into the Sweet Green. I got my food, and the guy that served me, some grumpy young black kid, I don't know what his problem was, he's just throwing stuff on he wasn't serving me. He had something going on mentally. He was done. I didn't want to ruffle his feather, like I didn't want to rub him the wrong way because he was dealing with something I could see. I was going to ask him, brother, is everything okay? But something just told me to leave him alone, So he served my food. I went, sat down. While I was eating, this lady shows up. They served her food, and I was just eating. Then she started, she sparked the conversation with me because I looked at her, because these days you don't know. Like when I walk into a place, someone opens the door, I try to look at the door, because all these shooters and shit, So I look and I hope that's a friend, not a foe. So she started a conversation with me. At the end of the day, it ended up being that she just wanted company. So she sat down. I was like, oh, you could, I pointed to my seat. I was like, you can sit here if you wanted, after we talked for a bit. She was like, oh, are you sure? Oh, I would love that. Then she came, she sat next to me, and then we just continued our conversation. And then after a while, she just liked, then I found out she had kids, she's divorced, all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And then she asked me how I was there. I told her I was just trying to, get to a judgment call, but I wanted to eat first just to ponder it a little bit. And then before she left, she asked, we exchanged numbers, but the thing about it was that I wasn't going to pursue because I didn't have to, I gave her my number. I was like, I'll give you my number. I put my number in there, and she left. And that was that. That's just how I move, And after that, I just went to the Apple store, and I went over there. They told me that based on all the variables, I cannot get the phone right now. I need my PIN, so that stops me from changing this phone. And then they said for this one, the carrier that I have does not work with Apple. Shit, you know what I mean? So that was that day was just unproductive, But like what you see what I'm saying, that's just how women work. I told her exactly who I was. I told her, this is how I roll. I was honest with her. I didn't lie to her, and she was with it. You know what I mean? She sat around. We talked about stuff, and I found out. As soon as she sat down, I started having a conversation. She didn't have much to offer me. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people talk good game. Oh, entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. And then you start breaking it down. And then as soon as you get behind the glass wall, you find out there's nothing there. It's all smoking screens. They make it look like they have this good deal to offer. Like this, like you're missing out on something. And I found out real quick, I wasn't missing out. She's actually wasn't on the record. She's underwhelming, like I always tell you. You know what I mean? It's just how they sell it to you.
Yeah.
They present like it's good. You're missing out. And then as soon as you get in there, you find out you just picked on a liability. It's going to cost you more than you're going to get. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
So that's why I say to people, if you have a good one, if you are convinced that the situation you're in is, just stay there. You know what I mean? And other than that, most of them are not offering anything spectacular. They're really not. And this is not to demean women. This is just the truth, You know, there's a small percentage of men are not offering anything spectacular, but that's minority. Because most men are offering a lot.
That's not just minority. It's everything.
And I'm saying like it's a minority of men that don't have much to offer.
Yeah,
because men are measured on performance, so they have a burden to perform. They cannot. You're not gonna get anything, if you can perform. You know what I mean? So, and then if you're an extraordinary man, if you're the one kind of guy that dresses well, you work on your appearance, you eat healthy, you read, you're intellectual, you have a business about yourself, you have provider tendencies, and then you're just on a different league. You can come out here and request whatever you want. You could ask for whatever you want. And that's the beauty. That's what I promote. I tell my guys, be that guy. Be the guy that you don't have to say much because your work speaks for itself. You don't have to convince. Because, like I said, feminism is beautiful. Even I told her, what did I tell her again? I told her that I'm a feminist, that I love feminism. She said, oh man, thank you for saying that. But when I started explaining, She was like, this fucker.
You detract me with what you did.
You know what I mean?
That's funny.
I was like, I'm for feminism because men are free now. They can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? They don't have to get married. You know what I'm saying? And she said the same thing before. You see, women are not equal opportunity offenders. They don't. They will offend you, but it's not okay when you offend them. You know. And I told her. She said the same thing to me. She, I was like, she was like, oh yeah, and women, that women can be happy now. They don't have to be married or tied to anybody. They can be just single. And I said, so when I made my feminist comment and told her that I love feminism, that I believe feminism is the best thing that happened to me, and that now men are free, she was taken aback. She was like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? You know what I mean? So when I explained, you know what I mean? And I think that's why she still hasn't called me, because she's like, this motherfucker is too advanced for me. You know what I mean? And then even when I dug there, I found out that she was the CPS teacher that dealt with like disabled kids, and she doesn't make much money. So if you come into her life, you're going to be taking on a lot of, exactly. You know what I mean? To her kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She expects you to dish out as much as you dish out to her kids and see them as your own, but you cannot scold them or do anything. She has the ultimate reign. So I'm like, fuck all that. I could give you just one thing. Pause.
I would have told you right away.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with it. I would engage a woman like that, but it has an expiration date, of course. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just how this one works.
I think that one's out of gas.
I'm telling you, the men of the 30s, right? The men of the 30s, they will be jealous of what's available to men today. They would kill to be here. I swear to God. They would kill to have what it because now the internet has exposed so many things that a man could come here, play the field, go to a foreign country, get married to a virgin, and enjoy his life and live happily ever after. So basically, the fairy tale has tilted towards, with great prejudice towards the men. Like men have it. All you have to do is just make sure you have the financial leverage part covered, and the world is yours. Really, Because I remember when I went for the rental car convention, I remember these two guys, an Arab guy and a white guy. He is Jeff. He works for Lamborghini dealership, but he runs a rental car company out of Sarasota, Florida. And they were both trying to preach to me why I should get married. You know what I mean? And I asked Jeff, why would I get married to one woman when I have 3 girlfriends? And then I asked the Arab guy. After I found out about his dating history, I found out that he was engaged to a gold digger that he eventually pushed to the side in place of a virgin. He went and got a virgin girl that was cultured back home but raised in the United States, and that's who he's married to. He just had his first kid. And Jeff went to Colombia to get a wife. And these are the people telling me about marriage. And now I literally said, I said this to them. If you guys were married to an American woman, right, you would have a dog in this fight. Like, you could tell me all this stuff you're telling me, and I would listen. But you went all the way back home to get a virgin wife. And you went all the way to Colombia to get a virgin, and now you're telling me.
You're trying to give me marriage.
Sit down somewhere. Just sit down. And by the time the conference was done, those two guys, they were glued to me like because they wanted to hear more. Even one of the guys, he still messages me today for like insights on what to do about his rental car when he has issues and stuff like that. Yeah. Jeff, I haven't heard from Jeff. Is happy, and not only I have a bigger fleet than Jeff, so there's not much I could tell Jeff. And Jeff, like, he has this like by the book way of doing things, and me, I'm more like unorthodox, I like to think freely, I like to use common sense. So I was worried that if I brought him to my world, he might panic because he's ex-military too. Jeff is ex-military. So I don't know if you know about military guys. They kind of move like law enforcement. They're like,
I'm ex-military.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They frown on loopholes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because they see it as cheating. I'm like, it's not. It's a loophole. It's just a crime that there's no law for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah. Like example, what Nancy Pelosi is doing. All her trading and all this stuff. They said she's like, what is it? She has a 80% trading success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's no law to arrest her. You know what I mean? So you can hate all you want. You can be mad at her all you want. She's not violating much. You know what I mean? There's actually an Asian guy that dropped out of school to develop an app to mirror Nancy Pelosi's trading history for other people to copy.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's real.
Online.
It's real. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So if you're law enforcement, ex-military, whatever, instead of hating on Nancy Pelosi, why don't you drift? You know what I mean? And take advantage. That's it. Just take it. That's me. I won't flat out commit a crime. No, but loopholes, shit. I would go through it till it becomes no hole.
It might be a pain in the ass to figure it out.
Yeah.
But once you got it out,
that's
all
it.
you do is,
That's it.
rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm. So as far as growth, like right now, I'm just growing slowly. Like the business I'm in, on average, is like each car makes about $1,000 a month. So it's similar to real estate. I try to buy my cars after they suffered the most depreciation. So I buy cars between 2012 to 2019. My newest car, the Maybach, is 2020. So I stay within that window because you don't want cars that are depreciating. Because as you're making money, it's eating up the money. You know what I mean? So you don't want to buy, like, say, a brand new Maybach 2024, and you rent it in a year. In a year, it makes about 12,000, but in that same year, it depreciates by 20 grand. You lost. You're negative eight grand. So that's how I look at it. So I tried even this Range Rover is 2015 or 16. The other one, I have an autobiography, Westminster, executive. That one is 2018 or 19. But that one is renting. Is faster. This one is almost paid up. I think the balance on this one, is 10 grand. That's the balance. So he just came back from rental yesterday, I think. So these are the kind of cars I buy. So the growth is slow, but it's steady. And I've been working on other clever financing options, ways to bring in cash, but I don't want to over leverage myself with debt. Because I'll give you an example, right? With eight cars in August rental season. I think eight cars. I made close to 20,000. Now imagine someone that has 8 times 3.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Put you in a hole.
So the more you have, the easier you could pay off your debt. So I've been trying to just find a fine line to avoid debt while I grow, without owing so much to anybody. So like most of my cars I own outright, except those major ones, like Maybach, Range Rover, and stuff like that. The Porsche Panamera I own outright, and every other car. So.
And you just keep these out on the street?
Right on the street.
Do you really?
Yes. Because it doesn't make sense to put them anywhere else. Because the beautiful thing about this business is that you can avoid overhead. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and then not only that, I even try to wash them myself. I mean, you see me out there coming out doing, so I try to wash them and keep costs low, because then I know my cost for the soap to wash all the cars for the year, my cost for cleaning, any cleaning supply, my cost for air fresheners, my cost for everything. I know my cost. The water is free because I get it from my place. And that's it. And then days that I don't feel like doing it, like, when it's like stupid cold like that, I just go through the car wash. I have a $20 a month payment, which comes out to $120 for the year, $140 for the year, and that's it. And that one payment affords me to take all my cars unlimited to wash any amount of time in a month. You see what I'm saying? So the business is pretty streamlined, But my goal, I think the game changer is getting to that 35, 42 car range. Now you're talking anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 a month. You know, because remember, August is the busiest month here in Chicago. And I just gave you the number. You know, 8 cars making about 15, 20,000. Then you times that and you see how many 20,000 just in August alone. If you had a leverage position, you could pay off all your debt just from August, you know. So that's where I'm trying to get to. And I've been trying to communicate with a lot of young guys. And, you know, like I have people that I'm teaching how to get, because currently my net worth is right under 300 grand. Everything, the debt, money, you know. So I cannot teach somebody how to be a millionaire. I can tell you, oh, do what I did and just repeat it 3 times, you know, or 4 times. You'll be at 1.2 million. But then again, you know, people that have that ability will not even listen to me. But the young guys that I'm talking to, these are guys with like a net worth of like 5 grand, 1 grand, 10 grand. So I can guide them to cross the hunt. I even tell the guys I mentor, I tell them, listen, yeah, you know, because I don't, my life is not a lie, so I don't want to teach you a lie. So I tell most of my guys, I will get you past $100,000, and that's all I can do for you. I could guide you from 0 to 100,000. I'll show you how to leverage credit at such a minute level, lower tier level, and get you past the 100 grand mark. And then, what is true is that if you repeat what you did from 0 to 100 grand 10 times, you'll be a millionaire. That's not a lie. You see what I'm saying? If you repeat it 100 times, you'll be what 10 million. So the same thing. So that's that's my mindset, and that's what I teach to my guys. And I rather have, what I've learned is that less is more. I rather have 3 guys that listen to me that get results than 20 guys and only 5 get results and the other 15 are complaining, either due to laxity, laziness, you know, inactivity, or whatever it is, you know, procrastination. I don't want to deal with that. I want solid guys that do what I say because they don't know and they believe in what I'm telling them and they believe it's going to forge a path for them and they just do it. You know, so that's why myself personally, I have to keep growing, because these guys are looking up to me to guide them down this path, because this is a life journey for them. This is not a joke. This is their lifetime that they're investing, you know. So, you know, like the guy that I talked out of getting a degree for, what is it? Criminal justice. You know, this guy, he almost worships me, you know what I mean? Because think about it. Someone that is not related to you, you met this person online, they were able to guide you to a point where you see not just value, it translates to money that goes into your pocket. It's hard not to like that person, you know what I mean? And then they check in on you and make sure you're doing it the way they tell you to do it. They correct you when you're not doing it properly. They guide you. They tell you the next step before you get to the next step. They ask you where you are. How is this going? Have you paid off that credit card? Have you done this? You know, are you checking your credit card? Are you making sure your credit score is going up? Are you making sure that you're falling under the percentage of credit card usage? How credit works? All this stuff. Nobody did that for me. And that's why I do what I do, because nobody came to my rescue to teach me the basics. And the people that could teach me, they don't even want to associate. They don't want to, you know, let's be real. As men, we're in competition, but we don't have to be. But most men see the other men as competition. But here's the truth. As much as we want to compete, if we congregate, if you have $10 million and I have $1 million and I feel like buying a Lamborghini and you have a Lamborghini, what does it matter? We're both doing well. You see what I mean? That's why rich people get richer, because they're not competing with the mindset of the poor. Rich people get richer because they're competing because they've already passed a certain threshold. They're not worried about groceries. They're not worried about their rent. They're not worried about the basic necessities of life. They've passed a certain threshold, a certain tax bracket. Like, they don't worry about what poor people worry about no more. Now what they're worried about is just congregating, compounding on their wealth, and just going from there, you know? So that's why I've gotten comfortable with just pushing certain people to the side, because there's nothing we could do together. You can't help me.
That's right.
You know, I can't help you. What are we doing together? You know what I mean? You know,
That's pretty.
yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
that's pretty basic, you know. I'm even a believer that no two poor people should be together. Seen doing anything. What are you guys doing together? You're both poor. You're both broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's like my mindset. You're both broke. What are you doing together? What are both of you doing? You know, if you're not constructively trying to get somewhere in life, it's like two people that are sinking and they're playing board games. Yeah, that's not how you do it. At least you want to deal with someone that has a life raft, at least a life jacket.
Yep.
You want at least one of those kind of person around you. You know what I mean? So,
I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
yeah, life is interesting, but most people don't take the breather to think about it. They're busy working, and that's always one of the things I despised as soon as I came to this country. The people's proclivity to just accept the norm of just waking up and dedicating their whole day to a certain exercise that moves somebody else's agendas way forward than it moves theirs. You know what I mean? Because the truth is that if you put your money up, you get most of the benefit. But most people don't want to put their money up.